I didn't really expect a phone call, but I definitely didn't expect that text. It came at 9:14 a.m., from my mom's number, signed by both my parents. "Hey, sweetheart, we were thinking it might be easier if you just watched the wedding online. With all the guests, seating, and Blake's family, it could get complicated. No offense. Hope that's okay." I read it twice. It wasn't a fight, it wasn't dramatic, it felt like a shrug. I stared at the message while my tea sat on my laptop, cold. An unpaid invoice for $14,750 was still open, money I'd put down for the wedding flowers, for a wedding I wasn't really invited to. "My name is Erin Caldwell, I'm 37, I live in Austin, Texas. I work in strategy at a clean energy startup. I don't cry much anymore. My sister Haley is getting married next Saturday near Dallas to Blake, my parents love him. I helped plan the wedding, I paid for most of it, quietly, without making a fuss, because that's how I've always done things. But I guess I was never really part of it." I didn't reply, I just stared at that one line that hurt more than it should have. "Hope that's okay." They didn't tell me not to come, they just let me know I was never really included. I was never the favorite, but I thought being the responsible one counted for something. When Haley dropped out of her first semester at Tulane, I helped her apply to a smaller college closer to home. I paid the fees, drove her to interviews. When Dad's consulting job dried up in 2016 and they almost lost the lake house, I sent them $18,000 from the savings I'd been putting toward buying a house, no questions asked. When Mom had hip surgery, I flew back for 10 days, canceled work meetings, did the grocery shopping, managed her meds, cleaned the house. That same week, Haley posted a throwback selfie with the caption, "Forever my parents rock." She got 430 likes. I got tendinitis. I've never needed applause, but over time, I realized something. When I kept everything together, they treated it like it was just normal. No one notices the person who fixes the roof, they just complain when the floor is wet again. This wedding was no different. Haley wanted the perfect Pinterest-style barn wedding near Dallas, with fairy lights, a cello player, and a fancy grazing table. It was too expensive. Blake's parents offered a small amount. My parents were in between things. So I booked the venue under my name and told Haley not to worry. She didn't, not once. The more I helped, the more they seemed to forget I was even involved. At first, it was small stuff. I wasn't added to the bridal group chat. They said, "Wear whatever you want, you always look good in navy." I offered to help with the seating chart. Haley said, "You're not great with people dynamics. It's just easier if Blake and I do it with Mom." Dynamics. That almost made me laugh. I've led major business deals around the world. The wedding planner called me once about a lighting change. I said I didn't know. She sounded confused. "I thought you were handling the production side." I had been, until I wasn't. As I got pushed out, everything seemed smoother for them. I became something like a power cord they forgot they were still using. Then the real sting came. My assistant Sasha accidentally forwarded me an email she wasn't supposed to see. It was from the wedding planner. Buried in the middle of the thread was a line from my mom. "Please make sure the bride's sister isn't in the front row photos. Haley prefers it that way. No, please check." No explanation, just a decision. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, trying to remember the last time any of them asked how I was doing. I couldn't. It's strange how you can disappear without ever leaving. The first time I noticed it was Haley's bridal brunch. I flew in early, stayed at a hotel I booked myself, brought the engraved glassware she forgot to order. I wasn't listed on the invite, but I assumed, hoped, they'd acknowledge I was behind most of it. Photos went up on Facebook that night. Dozens, everyone laughing, champagne flutes glinting in sunlight, matching robes. I scrolled until the end, wondering where I was. I appeared once, blurry, half hidden behind a flower arch, no tag. The album was titled, "The Most Magical Crew a Bride Could Ask For." I wasn't crew, I was scaffolding. A week later, Haley launched the official wedding website. I visited it out of habit. There was a section, Meet the VIPs, Bridesmaids, Parents, even Blake's great-uncle Gary. I wasn't there. I searched. There I was, at the bottom, under a category called Extended Family Support. No bio, no link, just my first name, spelled wrong. And then the final click, I tried logging into the wedding planning portal I had built for them, with timelines, invoices, contracts. It redirected me to a "You've been removed from this project" screen. No message, no heads up, just gone. I sat there, staring at the screen, and for the first time in a while, I felt something I hadn't let myself feel. Humiliation. Not anger, not grief, just that quiet, cutting sense that I had overstayed a welcome I was never really given. That night, I looked back at the email Sasha had forwarded, the one with Mom's request to move me out of the final photo line. The message thread showed who had approved it. Haley. The same Haley I sat up with for nights during her college meltdown. The same Haley I bailed out of a lease without telling Mom and Dad. She signed off on the deletion with a thumbs up emoji. I didn't tell anyone I was stepping back. I just stopped stepping in. Haley's second dress fitting was scheduled for a Tuesday. I had arranged it 2 months earlier, sent the deposit, confirmed the tailor. I didn't go. No one asked why. 2 days later, a final bridal fitting selfie went up. Haley, her maid of honor, our mother, all smiles. No mention of who paid for the alterations. I quietly removed myself from the shared Dropbox folder titled Haley's Wedding, Caldwell Family. No one noticed. I logged into the florist's booking portal, the one with the lush white peonies Haley wanted, even though they weren't in season, and updated the contact email. I listed the bride's own Gmail, with a note, please direct future queries here. I sat in my kitchen late that night, the lights off except for the laptop screen. The same invoice page still blinked, unpaid. That's when I started collecting receipts. Not just financial ones. All of them. Screenshots, threads, notes from vendors thanking me for fast replies. The version history of the wedding website, where I saw how my name had once been in the planning team section, before someone quietly deleted that line. There was no statement, no fight, no, I'm done. I just let go of the rope, and watched if anyone noticed it fall. They didn't. That weekend, I posted a single story to Instagram. A photo from a cafe in Austin, a table for 2, but only 1 seat taken, the tea was untouched. A blank place card sat across from it. No caption, no face, just silence. Sasha replied with a single emoji. She understood. The next morning, I deleted the shared Google Calendar invite for the wedding weekend. Not one person resented it to me. I didn't cancel my hotel, I just never packed. The absence became its own kind of statement. Not bold, just unmissable, if anyone had cared enough to look. The week of the wedding, the air in Austin turned heavy with late spring heat. I worked late every night, but my mind wasn't on work. It circled back to one line. Watch it online. Okay. I never replied. On Wednesday, 2 days before the rehearsal dinner, I met Dean, our in-house counsel, over lunch. I'm not suing anyone, I said before he even opened his menu. He laughed once. There's no need, he said, you just don't want to keep paying for everything. Then he helped me write a short, clear message. Aaron Caldwell is no longer paying for or organizing anything related to the wedding of Haley Caldwell and Blake Henson, effective immediately. It wasn't about getting back at them, it was about being clear. The next morning, I sent the message from my personal email, not work, not a lawyer. I included all the details, confirmation numbers, cancellations, canceled invoices. I copied the vendors, I added a timeline. By Friday, things started falling apart. I got an email from the wedding planner, Kira. We'd never met in person, but she'd been depending on me for months. Hi Aaron. Just saw your message, are you sure you want to pull out completely? Some things will be hard to replace this close to the date. No hello, no kindness, just stress hidden behind polite words. I didn't write back. Later that day, my phone rang, it was Mom. I watched it ring, then stop, she didn't leave a message. By Saturday, the wedding day, everything was falling apart. At 6:42 a.m., the florist called Haley to confirm delivery. Her credit card didn't go through. The string quartet canceled, no one paid them. The shuttle vans were gone, booking canceled. The barn venue still had a $14,750 balance. Then there was the tent. Blake's parents thought someone else had ordered it, they were wrong. Kira tried to rush a new one, but the supplier wanted payment up front. Haley's credit card was maxed out from buying decorations. Guests showed up to no flowers, no music, no tent, just folding chairs on hot gravel and a half-decorated altar. The photos that came out looked rough. One showed Haley holding a bouquet of store-bought tulips, looking both angry and shocked. I wasn't there. I had driven out to Big Bend National Park, 4 hours west, no cell service. Just me, a paperback book, and a cold Topo Chico. Sasha emailed me updates when I got signal again. The bride's mom had a breakdown. Guests started leaving after 40 minutes. Some thought it was a joke. There was no live stream. The planner never paid for it. So I technically did watch the wedding from a distance. But there was nothing to see. No real ceremony, no joy, nothing at the center of it. That night, Haley posted one photo, a blurry black and white selfie of her and Blake in a field. The caption said, "Private vows, no filters, just love." Honestly, I almost admired the effort. But the truth is, I didn't take anything away from them. I just stopped giving what they never thanked me for. They thought I disappeared. But really, I just let go of something that was never mine to carry. 3 days later, someone knocked on my door. I was back in Austin, sitting on my patio with a book in my lap when the doorbell rang. Through the glass, I saw my dad, wearing khakis, a collared shirt, and his usual serious look. Mom was behind him, holding her purse tight like someone might steal it. They didn't look mad, just prepared. "Sweetheart," Mom said, "can we come in?" I didn't move. "You've got 10 minutes, I said. They stepped in like they were visiting a museum. Everything in my place was neat, quiet, thoughtful. One framed photo, me at Machu Picchu, smiling, by myself. "We're not here to blame you," Dad said, "we just want to talk, figure out how things got misunderstood." Misunderstood. Like I somehow slipped out of the wedding by mistake. "We were under a lot of stress," Mom added. "Haley was overwhelmed, the planner dropped the ball, it wasn't personal." I didn't say a word. Dad sighed. "But the way things turned out, it's made Haley look irresponsible, ungrateful. Blake's family is upset, you know how perception works." There it was. Not an apology. A request for image management. Mom leaned in slightly. "If you could just put out a statement, something neutral, like you had a work conflict, or preferred to let them have their space, that would really help smooth things over." She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was asking for PR. I turned toward the hallway as Sasha stepped out holding a folder. She paused, then walked past them, laying it on the side table with a nod to me. She didn't say a word. My mother blinked. "That's your assistant?" I nodded. "One of them." Silence. And then the twist I hadn't expected. A text later that night from Aunt Lily, the one who always stood up for me at family events. The one who once whispered, "You don't deserve the way they treat you." Her message read, "Maybe don't drag this out, Aaron. It's already messy, we all need to move on. Not we owe you an apology. Not how are you. Just let it die quietly." Even the ones who saw it happen would rather bury it than acknowledge the rot. When even the ones who once defended you ask for silence, what exactly were they defending to begin with? I didn't respond to Aunt Lily. I didn't send a statement. I didn't post a clarification. I didn't show up to the post-wedding brunch Haley invited me to, 3 days late. A last-minute message that read, "We missed you, let's just catch up, okay? No drama." No drama. Like everything hadn't unraveled in front of 80 guests and a shuttered catering tent. The truth was, I wasn't angry anymore. Anger implies you still want something from them, an explanation, an apology, maybe even love. I didn't. What I wanted was space. Wide enough that they could no longer pretend I was part of their story. At work, Sasha updated my calendar. We removed the placeholder events titled Haley Wedding Tasks. She didn't ask why. She just renamed the folder, closed, not forgotten. That Friday, Mom sent one final email, just checking in. "Your father and I are still your parents, Aaron. We love you, please don't let this divide us forever." I sat with that line for a while. I thought about everything I'd funded, carried, organized. I thought about that RSVP list. About the planner email. About Blake's toast where he thanked everyone who made this day possible, and never once mentioned me. Then I typed one sentence. "I was always there. You just built a life that worked better when I wasn't." I didn't sign it with love. I didn't press send. I printed it, folded it, slipped it into an envelope, and left it on the hallway table next to the untouched invitation for Haley's postponed celebration dinner. I never opened that envelope again. A week later, I walked into the small UPS store near South Congress with a single padded envelope in my hand. Inside, a thumb drive labeled in my handwriting, "Expenses, Caldwell Wedding, Final." Also inside, the printed letter I never sent, the one that said, "I was always there, you just built a life that worked better when I wasn't." I didn't leave a return address. I paid in cash. And I walked out without looking back. That evening, I cleaned out my apartment, not of things, but of shadows. I deleted the family shared album on my cloud drive. Unfollowed Haley. Muted Mom. Archived the folder with venue notes and invoice breakdowns. I brewed a cup of Darjeeling and set it on the kitchen table across from an empty chair. Then I took the last wedding photo I'd ever saved, the blurry one, where I stood behind the flower arch, and slid it out of its frame. I replaced it with a new one, me, alone in Big Bend. No filter, no caption. Just sun, sweat, and silence. I left the old photo on the table, face down. The next morning, I found a message in my inbox. It was from the planner. Short. No greeting. Received the final documents. Understood. Understood. Not thank you. Not we're sorry. That was fine. I didn't need closure from people who had never left a door open. That Sunday, I visited a local antique market. I wasn't looking for anything. But I saw a wooden place card holder, carved, worn. It had space for 2 names. I bought it. Took it home. Slid in a single piece of paper. It read, reserved, not forgotten. I placed it across the table in front of the empty chair, and I didn't speak. They asked me to watch the wedding from a distance. So I did. And from there, I watched them fall. If you've ever been quietly erased from a story you helped build, just leave one word they never gave.